I was drinking when I read your
Yep.
text, and
Yep.
I spit all my stuff out.
Video portion,
We
bro.
are so close.
We're so. I mean, we are. We're just. We are right on the verge.
We're right on the
That
verge.
close.
We're so close. Yeah, missed it by that much.
Okay. Let's. All right. Let's see here. Should be. It's us. Okay. Let's see if I can do the video. No, no, no. You have to let me. No, no, no. This is not. It's not right. Okay. I guess I'll have to do it that way. Oh no! Wait. Nope. 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 You're wrong. You're wrong. That's not how we're doing. Tap on that. Show the volumes down. Nope. This is another thing. God almighty. What up? Nope. Do that. X. Let's do the sound. Let's see, 8 minutes, huh? Right. Of course not. Boy, I'll tell you, it wouldn't be so bad if it didn't do different things every single time I do it. So I've been able to share this all the usual places from the Ghost Club page.
Right.
Not today. Not today. Oh, now I can because I accessed it from a different place. Because, of course, I did. Unfreaking believable. I mean, just God, the rules change every time you touch it. It's insanity. We're gonna try to not get blocked here. Let's be.
I was looking at
Shit set.
how to see who I guess who viewed you in the chat,
Mm-hmm.
because it just says like I'm either YouTube user or Facebook user. And I was looking at
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
it says
That's,
if you can't see who viewed your stream in the chat on the web version of Streamlabs, you can try these steps. Check your widget theme.
oh God.
Check alert animations. Check browser hardware
So
acceleration.
check things that we've never had to check before.
Well,
Yeah.
just trying to
No, I
try to
know.
help.
I'm just saying. Why does it feel like it's like every time I sign into it, like the rules change?
Because you're probably in the web version. Because you are in the web version. That's why.
Because heaven forbid, I'm only
Heaven
paying.
forbid you would want the damn thing to work.
Yeah, well, no, I'm only paying for it, so why would I want it to work? Can I do enough of these? Just the right number that I don't get blocked. So far, we're okay.
Web version.
I'm not even worried about it anymore. I mean, like it's annoying, but it's gonna be this way until we get all new hardware. Kind of is what it is, I guess. I don't think they've been pushing 4 minutes. Yeah, gotta be coming soon. Oh, I made it right to the end. Huh. It's crazy. All right, be right back. I made it with about 6 groups left. All righty. Well, I got shared to. What did I get shared to? It was stupid. 105 isn't terrible.
Hmm.
I'll take it. Oh, I know.
Is there a way to make me a host or like
No,
a co-host? No way to do
it
that.
doesn't have no. I believe I can kick you out. Would you like me to do that? No, honestly, no. And
Okay.
if there is, I don't know how to do that. It's not like that's why I can't wait to just get the freaking Zoom
I
up
know.
again, and then we can have all that functionality again. Just do a couple of quick 559. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you, but
Oh,
I can't. I've been searching for that since we started using it.
let me see if I can find it.
We got lots of approvals. It's always good. And there we are. I think the comments are going to end up coming through there. Less than a minute. Oh, I forgot to bring up the. There we go. Oh, and I didn't rewind it.
Okay, so it says to make people co-host on the web version of Streamlabs, use the collab cam feature.
Oh, for God's sake.
Add it as
Well,
a
I
source
can't.
in your Streamlabs setup, generate a unique invite link, and send it to your
I
design.
don't think I could do that
But it says it's in the web.
without
Well,
closing what I'm already doing.
no.
I don't even know where it is.
Collab cam is
Where's that?
uh,
Where is that?
it says add it as a source in your Streamlabs setup.
Add cam?
Collab cam,
No.
collaboration cam.
I don't even see it on here.
It says simply share the collab. Yeah, it's always simply.
Yeah,
Share
no,
the link
everything's
to
incredible.
add a guest.
Everything.
They hear-
Well, that's easy.
They hear and see you in your chat while you stream. Co-host teammates while gaming. Invite a friend to chat. Bring in players for tabletop RPG or host a video conference.
There's just.
Yeah, I know. Should have done it at the beginning. I know.
It's not even on the screen though. That's the thing. Here, just use this. It'll work. Well, yeah, if I can't find it, it's pretty hard.
Well, in your
Let me get started. We gotta get
I know.
started.
Okay.
Let me get started here. And play. And play. And that one. And that one. And that one.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Do you want a man for president who's seasoned through and through, but not so doggone seasoned that he won't try something new? A man who's old enough to know
And young enough to do.
well, it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you.
But it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Do you want a man with spirit who is not afraid to fight?
A man whose record shows that he will fight for what is right.
A loyal man who'll bring the job a fresh new point of view? Well, it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you.
Cause it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
And do you deny to any man the right he's guaranteed to be elected president, no matter what his creed?
It's promised in the Bill of Rights to which we must be true.
So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you.
And it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me. Kennedy, 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 Kennedy.
Do you like a man who answers straight, a man who's always fair? We'll measure him against the others, and when you compare, you cast your vote for Kennedy and the change that's overdue. So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you.
Yes, it's Kennedy, 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 Kennedy for me.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy,
Welcome from my humble second bedroom here in the Saucon Valley, part of the Lehigh Valley, a Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, part of these United States, at least for now. We'll see what's happening come January 20th, 2025. North American continent, Western Hemisphere on this planet Earth, the only one we have third rock from the sun in the Terran solar system, part of the Milky Way galaxy. This is the Kennedy Effect live with you for the 13th of October, 2024. The emphasis on 4 because my brain wanted to say 2025 because I just said 2025 about 10 seconds before that. Anyway, we got through that part of it. Little admission of guilt there for you. Pulling back the curtain, breaking the fourth wall. George will get breaking the fourth wall. I'll get that reference. As we often do here, by the way, break the fourth wall and pull back the curtain. But welcome, welcome, welcome. It is, of course, still 2024, and it is October 13th already. About 3 weeks or so left of this election cycle. Let's get straight to the business end of the program, if you will. You are watching us live on Facebook. Or at least, well, you might not be, but you can. I guess I shouldn't tell you where you're watching, should I? We are live on Facebook at Ghost Club Productions Facebook page, our home group Facebook page for all things surrounding this program, The Kennedy Effect. That is our home group Facebook page called That Other Side of Information. We are also live right now on my own personal Facebook, Jeff Kennedy, and we have been lucky enough to share the program tonight to about 105 different places before I got stopped, which is a new, that's pretty bloody good, that. Well, it's not normal for us. We normally get stopped well before that. Well before that. But we made it. We made it to 105 different places. And that's awesome. So hopefully in our next hour, I'll be able to finish that list out. So there is literally over 105 different places across the Facebook universe where you can be watching us right now live. We hope that you are. We hope that you continue to do so, not just tonight, but every night. We strongly, deeply encourage, welcome your comments, your questions. You can drive the discussion of this program. If you don't like the topics that I picked, or you have another question that you want to ask on something completely different, go for it. That's why we are here. I have always, I'm going to have to do a grammar check, or George was going to do a grammar check. I've always strived, I think, to make this program as, George is just looking like, what the hell are you talking about? I've always strived to make this program as interactive as humanly possible, and I want you to be a part of the program. If you have questions, if you have comments, if you want to yell at me, tell me right where to go, tell me you think I'm right, tell me, and anywhere in between. Talk to me, tell me, send your comments, send your questions. We are live right now also on the YouTube channel for The Kennedy Effect, which is also called That Other Side of Information. We are live on Twitch right now at Jeff R. Kennedy. I've been quite disappointed a little bit with the activity that's come from Twitch. But then again, I just said I'm surprised by it, and then I was just going to say I'm not quite surprised by it. I guess I'm a little bit of both. I thought that would be a lot more busy, but maybe I'm just too boring for Twitch. That could be. I'm an old man, and I'm a sick old man, so that's maybe why I'm just an unhealthy old man. I shouldn't say sick. That's like a whole different connotation, isn't it? An unhealthy old man. Maybe I'm just too damn boring for Twitch. I don't know. But we are live there right now. We're also live on my LinkedIn page, which is Jeff Kennedy as well. The audio of the program blasting around the globe via 2 global internet radio stations. First and foremost, the originators, the very first radio station that gave me and this program family a home, and that is hot101.net. If you do not know how to listen to hot101.net, and you really haven't been paying attention for about the last 5.5 years, as I've been explaining it to you, our name is our web address. It is hot101.net, net. You can listen through our main website. Our name's our web address, hot101.net, but you don't have to if you don't want to. You can use our apps. We have an Apple app in the Apple App Store, an Android app in the Google Play Store, and if neither of those is the kind of device you have, you can go to the TuneIn, TuneIn radio app. Got you all confused there, didn't it? Go up to the search bar and type in hot101.net, and you will be listening there as well. The apps are very, very cool because you do not have to create a login and password, no fingerprints, retina scan. George will always get the retina scan. reference. You won't have to, no blood sample, don't have to sign over your house, credit card imprint, number, any of that funny stuff. Just open it and listen. And we hope that you will do so. You can listen to Hot101.net on any type of device that can connect to the internet, including desktops, laptops, tablets, phones, Bluetooth it to speakers, headphones, earbuds, Bluetooth it in the car. And of course, you can tell Alexa to play Hot101.net. We are also blasting around the globe via GCPR, Ghost Claw Productions Radio .live, gcpr.live. The link is in the chat. Check us out. Check out all the talk programming that is on GCPR, a variety of shows from science fiction to computers to world professional wrestling to this humble little political pile here at the Ending Effect. Check us out. And adding more programming all the time, by the way. There are more hosts coming. So we hope that you'll check us out. A special hello, both through Hot101.net and through GCPR, to our listeners outside the United States. It's a very interesting thing. It's a really humbling thing to see listeners check in with us and the analytics that we get on our broadcasts for folks that are listening outside the United States. Obviously, I am in the Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania. George is only about 45 minutes north of me in the Pocono Mountains. Thomas is in Georgia. Gilbert, Gambit are in Missouri, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So we're scattered about the United States. So when folks listen in from the UK or Australia or New Zealand or across the African continent, Central and South America, it's very, very humbling, and really, we deeply appreciate it. So a special hello to all of our listeners from outside the United States. A special welcome inside the chat to some names that I am not familiar with, that I have not seen before. I want to say welcome to, I'm scrolling, which is not, Alex, hello. Representative Solomon, hello and welcome, sir. You're always welcome on this program. You're welcome to guest on this program, by the way, he said, making a pitch out live in the air. Probably not always the best thing, but you're welcome. Brian, welcome. Donna, Randall are here. Randall says that Kathleen is here, but I didn't see her. Hello, Cheryl, and hello, Salima. I hope I am saying your first name correct. If I am not, please yell at me and correct me. I hope that I'm saying it correctly. If I'm not, like I said, please yell at me. The least I can do is get your name correct. But welcome, welcome, welcome to all of you. I deeply appreciate you being here. Let's, you're going to hear me sniffle. Here's the health update, because God knows I can't do a program without a health update. I am still feeling the effects of the surgery. I am absolutely drop dead exhausted. I was just telling George, Kristen and I went to church services this morning. We were lucky enough to have breakfast with a dear friend of ours. Came home. Kristen immediately went to work. I fell asleep for 3 hours. And once you get past, I think, an hour, maybe 90 minutes, it's not a nap anymore. It's not an old person. It's not an old guy nap anymore. It's like proper sleep. So I fell asleep for, I think, somewhere around the 2.5 hour mark, might be more. So something's definitely still not going well. And also, I have a migraine. I did take my prescription before we started. So hopefully that will kick in, and we will be able to get through the program. And especially to our friends and my family here at Hot101.net. My apologies to you to a point that I haven't really been here. I think it was, what is it, George, 3 weeks? I think that we've been on a Sunday. We haven't been here on a Sunday, I think, for almost 3 weeks.
Yeah, about.
I think it's about 3 weeks.
Yeah,
yeah.
about 3 weeks.
So special hello, welcome home, welcome back, and thank you for your patience. To our friends and family at hot101.net who were patient, who never, trampled on my airtime, never said, well, geez, you missed 3 weeks in a row, so you're out, kid. Never did well, they would never call me kid, call me old man. But they would, but never any of that. All I ever got from our hot101.net family, our GCPR family as well, but a special, to our hot101.net family, since we haven't seen you for 3 weeks. No, all I ever got was you take your time, relax, feel better. Anything we can do, you let us know. All that stuff, and it meant a lot. It really, really means a lot. It means a very, very lot, a whole lot. If you didn't get my meaning the first couple of times, but in all sincerity, it really does, because it's when you do what we do. The worst thing that you can do is be inconsistent in your broadcasting, and health just gets in the way, like all the time, and it continues to do so. So I have an active migraine right now. So I will get through as far as I can get through. Like I said, I did take my prescription earlier. I'm hoping it will sink in. It has not yet. Staring at the screen doesn't help. It's also about 800,000 degrees in here. I have no idea why. And if you are in the greater Northeast, I would say, please, I hope you had as great a weather weekend as we had here, because it was just, it was perfect weather the last 2 days. Literally, like, sunny, dry, 72. It couldn't have been nicer. Chris and I were lucky enough to go to the Art Center, south side of Bethlehem, and take in Oktoberfest. Christmas market they'll be breaking down Oktoberfest and building Christmas market. That will start soon. The air's been crisp and dry and clean at night, and it's just been, gosh, we've had a beautiful, 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 like 6 weeks or so. It's just been great. There's been a couple of, rainy days because we need the rain, to be honest with you, but gosh, it's been beautiful, and I hope it's been just as beautiful where you are. Whether you're in the same region as George and I, or if you're in, wherever you are around the country. Now, obviously, if you're in Florida and Georgia and the western parts of South Carolina, North Carolina, and Tennessee, it hasn't been great. But my sincere hopes for the rest of you that everyone is safe, secure, happy. The weather has been nice. You've had a beautiful fall, and that autumn, and that everybody's healthy and well. So again, that's pretty much the business end of the program. I want to welcome you all again and thank you for your patience with our very herky-jerky schedule surrounding my health or lack thereof. So thank you for that. We, Donna mentions she's supposed to get frost 3 nights this week. We had a frost warning here in the valley. It never got that chilly. I think the closest we got is one morning. It was 40 degrees. This week, actually, I think later tonight or overnight, it's supposed to rain. In a couple of days, it's going to be in the 50s and a little bit dreary. And then by next weekend, we're back into the 70s again. Also, the wedding is less than 3 months away. So, wow, take that. Speaking of schedule, only because I'm thinking of it, remember now, our schedule is going to get a little strange coming up. Our plan, given technical things, hardware things, and my health, but all thrown into that mix there. We are scheduled and planning to be with you Sunday through Thursday, straight through the election. We may take a break after the election, We will definitely be taking a break over Thanksgiving, and then there will be there'll be spotty days here and there between Thanksgiving and the holiday season surrounding, the wedding and things like that. And then in January, we should be back to, regular Sunday, Thursday, just a little bit of a drop, out there to YouTube. Please pay attention to that. As far as GCPR tonight, The Villain's View follows us at 9 p.m. George and I will take you as far into the program as we can before my head explodes, because it's not getting better. But we'll take you as deep into our normal airtime as humanly possible. So following us on gcpr.live, The Villain's View from 9 p.m. on Hot 101, the music returns because you desperately need fun, wonderful music after the dreariness of this program. And or the heavy laden topics, maybe we should say that. And then, of course, Monday through Thursday on GCPR this week from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Did I say 8 a.m.? Did I just say 8 a.m.? Did I just say that we did an 11-hour program? We're not doing an 11-hour program. Jeez. Yeah, I would not subject you all to that. My God, Nevin. We are scheduled to be with you tomorrow, Monday through Thursday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. So here on GCPR, Villain's View follows us from 9 p.m. Thomas returns in the morning from 8 a.m. And then we are back with you from 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. Let's get to some of the news / headlines that I want to try to bring to you if I can. I'm going to try to do this on good old iPad, which is already, I've had it unplugged for about, 5 minutes, and it's already down to 84%. This old girl, I think I've had this this iPad. This is a first generation, very first iPad Pro, 13-inch, large screen. But the old girl is pretty tired, and it doesn't update anymore and all this stuff. So let's get to a couple news items, shall we? And then also, George and I have something to discuss with you all, a little more business end of the program as we continue, but I don't want to get straight into that because I've bored you with enough stuff already. Phone line, by the way, I'll throw it open right now. Call us anytime you want. Phone line, phone line it backwards. You have to mirror what you're doing, sir. Phone line is open if you can see it right over my shoulder, 267-227-9189. Going to be the old-fashioned way. I'm going to hold the phone up to the mic. You will hear me. I will hear you. If George decides to grace you with a comment, you will not hear him except on the radio. It's all I can do. And we will talk to you about what we're doing to fix these problems at least after the bottom of the hour. I don't want to subject you with a bunch of personal stuff. This is from the Associated Press. It was posted only 3 minutes ago. So this article came in really since we've been on the air. Israel's military says 4 soldiers were killed in a Hezbollah drone attack on an army base. It is literally from 3 minutes ago. Article authors are Wafa Sharafa and Sami Magdi. And this is from a place on the Gaza. It's a town on the Gaza Strip, which I am reluctant to try to pronounce. I believe it is Deir al-Balah, because I'm just not terribly good with those enunciations or pronunciations. So if I, again, mispronounced any of it, I hope you'll have a little bit of leeway for me. It's certainly not intentional. I don't know Arabic, so I don't always know the vocal inflections and the pronunciations and so on. But an Israeli airstrike has killed at least 20 people, including children, at a school-turned shelter in central Gaza according to local hospitals. Sunday night strike. Well, the headline of this is different than the article, isn't it? It's odd. It's very strange. Okay, stop. I can't get rid of this now. Well, that. Come on, Associated Press, help me out. Okay. Sunday night strike also killed 2 women and Nusriat, and I'm probably saying that wrong too. The school was sheltering some of the many Palestinians displaced by the year-long war in Gaza. The bodies were taken to Al-Adwa Hospital in Nusrat and the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital in Deir al-Balah. Israel's bombardment and its ground invasion of Gaza have killed over 42,000 Palestinians, according to Gaza's health ministry, which doesn't distinguish between militants or civilians. Here's the breaking update. I got judgy on the story here a little too soon. A Hezbollah drone attack on an army base in central Israel killed 4 soldiers and severely wounded 7 others Sunday, the military said, in the deadliest strike by the militant group since Israel launched its ground invasion of Lebanon nearly 2 weeks ago. The military statement came shortly after Israel's National Rescue Service said the attack wounded 61. The Lebanon-based Hezbollah earlier claimed responsibility and called the attack near Binyamina city retaliation for the Israeli strikes on Beirut on Thursday, this past Thursday, that killed 22 people. It later said it targeted Israel's elite Golani brigade, launching dozens of missiles to occupy Israeli air defense systems during the assault by quote-unquote squadrons of drones. Hezbollah and Israel have traded fire almost daily in the years since the war in Gaza began, and fighting has escalated. With Israel's advanced air defense system, it's rare for so many people to be hurt by drones or missiles. Israeli media reported that 2 drones were launched from Lebanon, and the military said 1 was intercepted. It was the second time in 2 days a drone has struck in Israel. On Saturday, during the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur, one hit a Tel Aviv suburb, causing no injuries. So this is ramping up, and I have to tell you this. If you're familiar with our weeknight program, I've admitted to you on more than one occasion, I got this wrong. I did not think that this was going to continue to escalate. Because at the end of the day, it was my feeling that Iran, especially, who are the chief backers, suppliers, sponsors of Hezbollah in Lebanon, that they did not want full-scale open war with Israel. I still don't think that they do. But I'm not sure they're going to have a choice. Netanyahu wants war. He is happy with full-on, full-scale, everything right up to the line of nuclear weapons. And if you don't think Israel has them, you're sadly mistaken. They have never acknowledged their nuclear weapons arsenal. The UN believes they have them. Most countries, the U.S. has never acknowledged it, but even other NATO allies believe Israel has nuclear weapons. I think Netanyahu is willing to take this right up to the edge of a tactical nuclear exchange. Well, not even exchange, because Iran doesn't have them yet. But they'll take it right up to the edge of using. And they are willing, and Netanyahu is, we have to differentiate, and I have to differentiate. I have to be careful what I'm saying, because I want to convey to you the proper thought. It's Netanyahu that's continuing this. I don't even think it's the full Israeli government at this point. He certainly has allies and sycophants around him. Does that sound familiar? Sounds like a guy running for president here. But especially from the far right Orthodox parties who believe that this war is somehow the end of a biblical cycle that will usher in, for the Jews, the arrival of the Messiah. So, because again, the main theological difference between Judaism and Christianity is that Christians believe that Christ was the Messiah, Jews do not. So they kind of want to see this war. They want to see full-scale, open bloodshed. They want to see the Israeli army clear the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem, built on the site of Solomon's temple, and have it be reclaimed so that the temple can be rebuilt. It's one of the things in the Old Testament that's supposed to usher in the final conflagration. I didn't say that right, did I? And usher the arrival of the Messiah. And my goal here was not to get so drenched in theology, but so you have Netanyahu, who he's a fascist. He just is. He rules Israel based on economics first. Who's shoving cash in his pocket? Remember, Netanyahu was set to stand trial as ordered by the Israeli Supreme Court. He was set to stand trial for corruption trial, bribery trial. To try to stop all that, he tried to push legislation through the Israeli parliament, which would have completely reorganized the Israeli court system and actually removed it from being a semi-autonomous branch of government, not completely dissimilar from the United States, where we have three co-equal branches of government. And that sent hundreds of thousands of Israelis into the street to say, you can't do this. It's fascism. It's dictatorship. It would have made Netanyahu the dictator, the head of the judiciary, in which case he could have dismissed all of the cases against him. He could have fired the judges and lawyers and prosecutors who were bringing cases against him. Does that sound familiar? It sounds like Project 2025 to me. Well, he couldn't get that legislation through. Even within the coalition of parties that he's put together to be the ruling majority in Israel, he couldn't get that through. When you combine that with the fact that Israel was right on the verge of signing a full peace treaty with the Saudis, that's when Hamas attacked from Gaza. They were prompted by Iran to attack from Gaza. And this gave and continues to give Netanyahu an open free pass. His nation is at war. He has taken powers upon himself for when Israel is at war. It has delayed all of his trials. It has delayed, I shouldn't say this, delayed the investigations, because they may very well still be going on. I don't know that I live in Israel. But it has delayed all the trials. And it's bought him time. And it's why he wants this war to continue. And he doesn't care who's involved in it. He doesn't care if it broadens. He doesn't care if it widens. He doesn't care who he has to conscript. He doesn't care who he pisses off. And for the folks in this country, not just the pro-Palestinian protesters and supporters and so on in this country. But even a growing sector of lawmakers and former defense officials and from the national security apparatus and so on that are saying it might just be time to stop rearming Israel at an unlimited clip. And clip not being not trying to use a pun. But it might be time to just stop blindly giving them everything they need or want. Maybe it's time to restrict the flow of arms a little bit and try and rein this in. It has been pretty well reported that the last several attacks by Israel into Lebanon was done with no prior knowledge of the American government. That Israel has, for all intent and purpose, stopped communicating with the American government, stopped sharing intelligence, and so on and so on. Because Netanyahu doesn't care. He is under the impression, and he has no reason to think differently about it, that the Americans will simply just keep rearming them bullet for bullet, missile for missile, bomb for bomb. Now, President Biden has already restricted some of the bombs being resupplied to Israel, cluster bombs and so on, bunker busters, in an attempt to force Israel to be a little more careful about targeting civilians. And Netanyahu has basically ignored that. Doesn't care how many civilians he kills. Now, Netanyahu is a practicing Jew by his own admission. He will have a lot to answer for. He will have much to answer for when his time comes. He has made a decision that the lives of these innocent civilians is irrelevant to him compared to him staying out of prison and the money, the graft, the corruption, the bribes continuing to fill his pockets. I wouldn't be surprised if there ever was another election in Israel, and there's not going to be another election in Israel anytime soon. Netanyahu will stay in power, period, end of story. If there should ever be another election and he should be voted out, I would expect that he would run away from Israel and go find somewhere else to stay in exile with all of his millions that he's taken. Here's what I wanted to continue to get to from this article. Israel is now at war with Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon, both Iran-backed militant groups, and is expected to strike Iran in retaliation for a missile attack earlier this month. Iran has said it will respond to any Israeli attack. Netanyahu calls UN peacekeepers, quote, human shields for Hezbollah. The UN peacekeeping force in Lebanon, known as UNIFIL, said Israeli tanks forcibly entered the gates of one position early Sunday and destroyed the main gate, and later fired smoke rounds near peacekeepers, causing skin irritations. They were probably tear gas. UNIFIL called the incident, quote, further flagrant violation of international law. Something, my words here, something Netanyahu's become all too good at. International criticism is growing after Israeli forces have repeatedly fired on UN peacekeepers since the start of the ground operation in Lebanon. 5 peacekeepers have been wounded in attacks that struck their positions, with most blamed on Israeli forces. The military says Hezbollah operates in the peacekeepers' vicinity without providing evidence. Mike has put a massively long quote, George hopefully can read that one for me. That one's good to post. It's Jonquia mentions that war hurts people on both sides. She's right. Let me again try to enunciate my position. Not that anybody in the world is staying awake waiting for my position. But like most things in this world, there is a middle ground. And I believe this conflict has a middle ground as well. And that would be the following. And it's something that I've told you many, many, many times before. Israel has every right to exist, period, end of story. They have every right to exist as a free, democratic, secure, safe nation state. But it does not have the right to commit genocide. It does not have the right to indiscriminately target civilians. It can, must, and should target Hamas and Hezbollah. And if it must, Iran as well. But it cannot indiscriminately kill civilians. First world nations don't do that. So-called Western industrialized first world nations don't do such things. Especially when Israel is armed to the teeth. The only nation on earth who manufactures and sells more arms than the United States is Israel. Or, I mean, somewhere close, sorry. We are our largest national export. I think America's top 3 exports now are fossil fuel products and weaponry. Third is, I'm forgetting what third is. Farm products. I believe I have that correct. I'm working from memory. I believe I have that correct. The only nation who is close to us in its manufacture of sophisticated, laser-guided, GPS-guided, top-of-the-line, computerized, fill in all the assorted different adjectives here, types of weaponry, are the Israelis. They can prosecute these campaigns while minimizing civilian damage and deaths. They have chosen not to. Again, because Mr. Netanyahu wants to stay out of jail. I have never, ever, ever sat on this program and said that Israel is completely 100% wrong. They're not. But they're not right either. I have never said that Hamas is in the right. I've never said Hezbollah is in the right. I've never said Iran is in the right. But civilians should not suffer for the chess pieces that are being moved on the board that is the Middle East between Iran, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the United States. We should be better than this. Israel has every right in the world to, especially after October 7th, to make it their goal, to make it their dream, to make it their, whatever you want to call it, insert proper word here, to not just find the Hamas fighters responsible, but to destroy all of Hamas itself. They have that right. They do not have the right to slaughter. And they are now beginning to do the same thing in Lebanon. Does Netanyahu honestly believe that the United Nations is housing Hezbollah fighters or somehow protecting them or hiding them? Does he honestly believe that? You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. This is a big shell game of look over here, listen to what I say, not what I do. Listen to me, not the facts. Israel has every right to exist. It has every right to be safe. It has every right to have secure, sovereign borders. It does not have the right to slaughter. It just doesn't. And that leads me to this article, posted today by Julia Frankel. I almost said Franklin. That is incorrect. It is Julia Frankel of the Associated Press. Dateline. This was posted today. I do not know what time, but it was posted today. Headline: Netanyahu mulls plan to empty northern Gaza of civilians and cut off aid to those left inside. Dateline Jerusalem. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is examining a plan to seal off humanitarian aid to northern Gaza in an attempt to starve out Hamas militants, a plan that, if implemented, could trap without food or water hundreds of thousands of Palestinians unwilling or unable to leave their homes. Israel has issued many evacuation orders for the north throughout the year-long war, the most recent of which was Sunday. The plan proposed to Netanyahu in the Israeli parliament by a group of retired generals would escalate the pressure, giving Palestinians a week to leave the northern third of the Gaza Strip, including Gaza City, before declaring it a closed military zone. I've also told you, by the way, that it's been my belief that Netanyahu has no plan to give back any of this land to the Palestinians, that he intends to keep it. This would be another step to shrink the Gaza Strip, take this northern third, and make it part of Israel. And I suspect that's the beginning of this. Or I should say, this is yet another flattening. It was the beginning of it, starting the total war, the most, Sherman's March, if you will, if you're familiar with Civil War history. His march through Atlanta, which is what Israel has essentially done to Gaza, starting from the north and destroying everything as it moves south, every building, killing everyone they can find. This is a continuation of that. It's a clearing of the slate so that Israel has yet another fresh piece of land it can take from the Palestinians and make its own. I return to the article. Those who remain would be considered combatants, meaning military regulations would allow troops to kill them, and denied food, water, medicine, and fuel, according to a copy of the plan given to the Associated Press by its chief architect, who says the plan is the only way to break Hamas in the north and pressure it to release the remaining hostages. The plan calls for Israel to maintain control over the north for an indefinite period to attempt to create a new administration without Hamas, splitting the Gaza Strip in two. I suspect they plan to just keep it. When asked if the evacuation orders in northern Gaza marked the first stages of the general's plan, Israeli military spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Nadiv Shoshani said no, we have not received a plan like that, he added. But one official with knowledge of the matter said parts of the plan are already being implemented, without specifying which parts. A second official, who is Israeli, said Netanyahu, quote, had read and studied, unquote, the plan, and, quote, like many plans that have reached him throughout the war, he's studied them. but didn't say whether any of it had been adopted. The officials spoke on conditions of anonymity because the plan isn't supposed to be discussed publicly. Just want to keep it. Just want to keep it. So, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? We want to know. We would like to hear what you think. 267-227-9189, 267-227-9189, 267-227-9189 if you would like to join the program. I'm trying to find, there it is. There we go. Sorry, trying to find the video of the program so I can continue to stay with you and try to keep up with your comments. Mike mentions the argument that Israel is indiscriminately killing civilians is absurd. Watch any of that raw video from October 7th, and Hamas Palestinians aren't attacking the Israeli military; they're killing civilians. No shit. Nobody's arguing that. No one is arguing that. The bombing of Gaza has been indiscriminate. They have targeted schools, hospitals, shelter. They've dropped millions of leaflets, papers, telling, in Arabic, telling the civilians, get out of the area that you're in. Go to this area and you will be safe. And then they bomb the safe zone. You know, I had a discussion with Kristen last night. If you're familiar with the Vanity Fair editorial board writer and author Ta-Nehisi Coates, he's been on a book promotion tour. Talking about, and I'm blanking on the name of the book. I'll try to Google it here quick. He spent a lot of time traveling throughout Israel and the occupied territories and wrote a book on the modern condition of what has become an apartheid state in Israel. The Zionist movement, which is not a Jewish movement. I consider Zionists to be more almost like a political movement rather than a religious one. I know not everybody does. They consider the word Zionist to be anti-Jewish. I don't think it's anti-Jewish. I actually think they're two different things. Zionists can be Jewish, but they don't think Zionism is a religion, and they don't think it's a reflection on Judaism itself. Because remember, Jewish is not a nationality, it's a faith. And he very detailed chronicles the dual systems for life in and around the West Bank. He traveled to Gaza before the war started. He's been to the Golan Heights. He's been to Lebanon. And I haven't read the book. I haven't bought it. I am a terrible reader. I have really serious problems reading. It's a wonder I got through school, but then, when we were young, they didn't diagnose these kind of things. Like, they didn't know what ADHD was, and I don't think anybody really knew what autism was and things like that, or, how somebody could have trouble reading. how somebody could have. What do you mean you're having problems reading what's on the page? Just concentrate more, that kind of thing. So I haven't read the book yet. I have watched nearly every interview with Ta-Nehisi Coates that I can find. He had a very contentious interview on CBS this morning, where he was pushed, I think prodded, and I think kind of goaded a bit into defending the premise of his book. And finally, he was getting kind of pissed off, and I can understand why. Tough questioning is never a bad thing. Fact-checking, Senator Vance, is never a bad thing. But you better be right. And you better be coming from a place of neutrality. Facts are facts. Lies are lies. Falsehoods are falsehoods. They are not right or wrong. We do not, you don't fact check from a point of, I'm going to make this guy look like a fool. A fact is a fact is a fact is a fact. It either is or it isn't. And Mr. Coates ends up describing one village settlement, they're called, on the West Bank, a piece of land that Israel took from Jordan, the nation Jordan. And it was literally there were two roads kind of next to each other, as he explained it. And if anybody wants to go to YouTube and find it, maybe George will have time to find it. If I can find it myself, I'll post it in the chat after the show is over. And there were two farms. Not humongous farms, not like big, huge corporate farms, thousands and thousands of acres, but two family farms. One of the farms was owned by a Jewish settler. It was lush, it was green. The road that bordered it was freshly paved, painted. The house was, Mr. Coates described as, if I recall correctly, was not over the top, but very, very nice. Very well built, very comfortable. I wouldn't say luxurious, but very comfortable. Directly across this dual road was a Palestinian farm. It was brown. The dwelling was made of, it was a shack. It was made of, I think, random pieces of corrugated metal. And if I remember correctly, Mr. Coates said there was a fence between the two roads. The road was dirt and very pitted, very large sort of dips and I wouldn't say craters. But you know what I mean. And most of his crops were brown. And Mr. Coates was able to speak to the man, and he said, why does your farm look different? Because I'm Palestinian. The Israelis have control of the water. I am only allowed so much water a day. And the water that we get, we need to stay alive. There's not enough left for crops. The Israelis control when he has electricity. They control if and or when he gets fuel for his farm equipment. They control how much food he gets. His children cannot attend school. And they are subject to military justice. If this farmer should happen to steal something, it goes to a military tribunal, not a civilian court. If he should have a dispute with even a bordering Palestinian land owner, that goes into a whole separate military style civilian court, so to speak. I know it can't be both, but I think you might get my idea. If the Jewish farmer has a land dispute or some sort of civil dispute with another Israeli citizen, they go to a regular civilian court. The same way you hire a contractor for your house, he doesn't do the job, you take him to small claims court. I want my money back. I hired you to fix the bathroom, you tore it apart, you ran away. I want my money back. So they're subject to all these, a completely separate justice system. They cannot attend school. And Israel controls what food they get, how much food they get, how much water they get. How much water? Imagine going to your kitchen sink and turning on the spigot and nothing comes out. Because the government has decided you don't deserve water right now. I just ask you to think of this in a different way. I'm asking you to try to think of both sides of it. I am not in any way, I will say this yet again, because we're at the top of the hour, you need to reset. Not in any way telling you that Hamas has done anything correct. They have not. They deserve the war that has been wrought upon them. Hezbollah deserves the war that has been wrought upon them. But the civilians don't. They just don't. Israel can be better. It has the technology, has the weaponry to be better. And if peace is ever going to come to that region, it will have to be better. And you might think that that's not fair. Why is this all on Israel? Because they're the ones that are armed to the teeth. Someone at some point has to be better. In World War II, when the Germans captured prisoners of war and starved them and put them in labor camps, and when the Allies captured them and fed them and housed them and clothed them, somebody had to be better. In the Civil War, when the Confederate Army captured Northern soldiers and starved them to death with no medical care, when the North captured Confederate soldiers and housed them, clothed them, fed them, and gave them medical care, someone had to be better. This is incumbent upon Israel to be better. To defend itself? Absolutely. To secure its own borders? Absolutely. To maintain its internationally recognized status as a sovereign, independent nation? Absolutely. But not genocide. Not indiscriminate death. 7:03. We have entered the second hour of the Kennedy Effect. My head is now splitting wide open, so I will stay with you as long as I can. I have all my headaches, whenever they start, they always end up behind my left eye. It goes right down to my cheekbone. That's exactly where it is right now. So I will stay with you, and I think I just smudged the ever-living heck out of my glasses. I sure did. I can't see a thing. This tissues. See if I can clean this. Probably make it worse. I usually do. If anybody can recommend a really good home remedy for cleaning reading glasses, I would be thrilled to hear about it. Because boy, I do seem to just make it worse. Oh, I really make that worse. Not that one so much. Yeah, because you tuned in to watch me clean my glasses, but I can't see anything. I can't see anything without them either. But welcome and thank you for being back with us. It is 7:06 Eastern Time. We have entered the second hour of the Kennedy Effect for Sunday, October 13, 2024. We are live right now on my personal Facebook, Jeff Kennedy. We are live on a Facebook page for Ghost Claw Productions. Just search Ghost Claw Productions. You'll find us there. We are live on our home group Facebook page for everything that surrounds this program called That Other Side of Information. We are like alcohol, Pat. Somebody said, oh, Donna said alcohol. Yeah, you know what? I don't have any. Shoot. I should have thought of that because now this is just one big smudge, which is only going to make the headache worse. So I'll keep trying with the tissues. We are live on our YouTube channel, That Other Side of Information. We are live on Twitch, twitch.com/Jeff R. R's in red, Kennedy. And we are live on our LinkedIn page as well, which is also Jeff Kennedy. The audio of the program blasting around the globe via 2 major global internet radio stations. One, a foundational radio station, one of the first, and of course, one of the most recent, our first radio home. The family that gave this program a chance, hot101.net. If you don't know how to listen to hot101.net, then you haven't been listening. You haven't been listening to me. Hot101.net, our name is our web address. Hot, H-O-T, 101.net. You can listen on any type of device that can connect to the internet. Desktops, laptops, phones, tablets, Bluetooth it to speakers, headphones, earbuds, Bluetooth it in the car. And, of course, you can tell Alexa to play hot101.net. You don't need the main website. If you don't wish, you can use one of our apps, Apple App Store, Google Play Store, and the TuneIn Radio app. We, of course, also are on one of the original foundational ones and one of the newest, GCPR, Ghost Call Productions Radio .live, GCPR.live. And a special hello to the listeners and viewers from outside the United States, following us at 9 p.m. live on GCPR. The Villain's View returns for this week to start off your broadcast week. And on Hot 101, the music returns. Heavy, political-laden topics, and then the light, fun music returns. There is certainly plenty of time to listen to both radio stations, and I hope that you will, and I strongly encourage you to do so. So from 9 p.m. on GCPR, the Villain's View returns. From 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, Sound of Coffee with Thomas, we return tomorrow evening from 8 p.m. We are expecting, by the way, some guests this week, some candidates running for office. I believe not Monday, but either Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There's 2 different folks that are planning to come on. I just don't know exactly which day quite yet. 267-227. 9189 267 9189. Am I giving you the right number? It is 227. Why did I think I had the wrong number? I'm not sure. I thought I had the wrong number there for a second. But I'm actually so wrong. I'm right. I did have the right number. 267-227-9189, and I just can't see out of these glasses. I want to move on to what I think was really the other big topic of the week. Look, the election is going to be no, that's Randall. That's really awesome that it cut off the other sound. That's great. I'm not sure how that worked. Go ahead, Randall.
Hey, Jeff.
I was right.
Hey.
For once.
I just want to get back again to the genocide being carried out by the Prime Minister and his Zionists on the coalition that put him in office.
Yeah, the coalition government he built with the far right, more religious parties. Yeah.
The Zionists are the head of it, and they are, Zionism is Jewish racism nationalists. Just like in this country, you got the Christian racist nationalists. They are 2 hand-in-hand brothers together. The Zionists want to eradicate the Middle East, starting with Israel, of all Muslims. And the Christian racist nationalists in this country, they want to get rid of everybody except whites that practice their type of religion. What do you think?
I think that's pretty much correct, but I also, like I said, I the risk of being exceptionally repetitive here. Israel has every right in the world to defend itself, has every right to be secure, and to try to provide a safe and secure atmosphere for all of its residents. We seem to get trapped in the word of citizenry, as if the human lives of people that may not be citizens are somehow less, or somehow lesser, or somehow not as equal to the citizen, or as valuable. But I just don't think they have the right to indiscriminately kill, which is basically what's been happening. Now, I know Mike is getting apoplectic in the comments, which is unnecessary. It is his right to do so, his absolute right to do so. But it's also unnecessary, because I think you're just not getting what I'm saying. When the United States, we did this. When we launched an illegal war, second war into Iraq, we killed. And we killed indiscriminately. And we weren't right for doing. Well, first off, the war itself never should have been launched because it was unjustified. It was also illegal under international law. Hundreds of thousands of Iraqi civilians died needlessly, so that a handful of corporations could take the oil fields in the south of the country. Oil fields they still have control of. This is the the civilian atrocities that occurred under the United States and Southeast Asia in the 60s and 70s. The human atrocities that occurred at the hands of the Germans during World War I and II. None of which, and when you go back to World War I and II, you're talking about carpet bombing, because we didn't have laser-guided, GPS-guided weaponry. We do now. Are you telling me that Israel could explode several thousand pagers and walkie-talkies down to the specific human beings that they were targeting? That one person standing in a grocery store line with a pager was perfectly fine. The person next to him, his pager exploded. They could do that type of precision attack. But they can't do that in Gaza. They can, they've chosen not to.
I'm sorry, Jeff. There were innocent people. I know, just get your breath. There are many innocent Lebanese, and it doesn't matter if they come from a Hasbara family or not. There are many innocent Lebanese, women and children that were hurt, and some hurt very, very badly, and a few were killed. When those pagers and when those radios went off, that's not precision.
They were
not when you're taking.
No, they were.
People, that's not precision.
They were collateral damage, because the timing of the explosions was not based on how many people were standing around them. But you also had cases of several people in a crowded area, like an open marketplace or a grocery or a medical facility. 20 people in a room had pagers, only one exploded. It was done with precision, but the collateral damage, the people around who were also hurt as a result of that precision, was not taken into account, and also, by the way, probably not really given a second thought. So from that standpoint, I agree with you. For whatever that
Yeah, there's no second thoughts for the genocide that the Prime Minister, his Zionist cabinet, is conducting either in Gaza or in Lebanon. And I went to college with a bunch of close Palestinian Israeli citizens. And guess what? They've all stayed here. They all become nationalized citizens decades ago because even though they were Israeli citizens, they were Palestinians.
Right. Not the same.
They were discriminated against. They were discriminated against. Israel's been discriminated against its Palestinian citizens since 1948.
Yep. Hey, what else you got on your mind?
It's absolutely time for our government to cut back on weapon shipments to Israel. That's the only thing we can do.
I agree.
This genocide will continue.
I do not think we should stop all shipments altogether, but I think we could control it better. I think we could
stop all of them. I said cut back.
Yeah, I think we could ration it out a little bit. If ration's the right word, by the way, I don't know if that's the right term for it, but I understand what you mean. I agree with you 100%. I do not in any way think, I want to be very plain for the remainder of the audience. I know that Randall already understands what I'm saying. Do not think we should cut off shipments to Israel in any way. Not at all. Not at all. Could we kind of dial back on the quantity? I believe that we could.
We could dial back a lot on certain weapons. I have no problem with surface-to-air missiles. We take out incoming drones, rockets, either from Hamas or from the Hezbollah or from Iran. I have no problem with that. But they're, bombs. Bombs that are indiscriminately killing, especially in Gaza. It's genocide, in my opinion.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about something on a little lighter topic, if you wouldn't mind. If I remember correctly, you either sent me a picture, you posted a picture, you sent me a message, something. I'm blanking on exactly how you did this. Did you get to see the Northern Lights this week?
I faintly, there's so much light pollution down here in the southeast part of Pennsylvania.
I just found it to be, on this program, on our Facebook page, we try to find things that are always not so dire, not so serious, not so, that are just a little different. They're just a little escape, maybe, if you will. This week, the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis, came as far south as Pennsylvania. And I missed them because I was on the air here. But they were right outside. Many of my neighbors were lucky enough to get really wonderful pictures of this glorious pink that filled the sky. I was told, relatively brief. They only lasted for a few minutes. But a lot of my neighbors got some really wonderful pictures and shared them on our association page here. So I missed them in real time, but I did get to see some glorious, glorious pictures of them. And this is not the last time, by the way, that this will be. If you've noticed, along with many of the things that have changed as a part of global climate change, the frequency of tornadoes, the frequency and intensity of hurricanes, hail, the places where tornadoes are routinely now taking place, and on and on. The once in a century hurricane that happens every 2 weeks, the once in a century drought that seems to happen every few summers, the once in a century rainfall that seems to happen multiple times in the summer. The viewing or availability of viewing of the aurora in different parts of the planet where it is not normally seen is seems to be coming with more frequency, and very, very selfishly, I kind of hope it continues because I think it's a very, very super cool thing, and it's a really neat astronomical, you know, occurrence and phenomena. And if you were lucky enough to see the aurora this past week, you know, drop us something in the chat. Let us know if you got to see them, what you thought. Was it as awe-inspiring as I tend to think it is, or was it like, yeah, you know, okay, that's neat, but I'd just be curious to know what you think as well. So I just wanted to ask you that while I had you. But what else do you have on your mind?
I still got Hurricane Helene on my mind, even more than this last one that hit Florida, because, you know, it's a topography difference. Florida is essentially flat, and it can't be repaired quickly because of that reason. Whereas Western North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee, Eastern Kentucky, Western Virginia, it's just totally difficult compared to Florida, for example, getting hit by a major hurricane. And you know, I've got most of my friends still deny electricity. The ones that are near, you know, Asheville, Black Mountain, Swannanoa, they got their electricity back, but up Petrie, north of and Old Fort, north of Old Fort, and Canton, North Carolina, especially north of it, up in the mountains, Appalachian Mountain. They still have electricity. They can't run their pumps.
Right.
If they're rich enough to have wells. And I posted on my page, just up the street from Warren Wilson College in Swannanoa, was at one time a secret Warren Development Center for hallucinogenic nerve gas. And, you know, it's been on EPA Superfund cleanup site for 20 years, and it's been happening for 20 years. But what was done, you know, thousands of canisters, 55-gallon canisters that contain this hallucinogen chemical warfare gas. That was neutralized. But what's happened is that because of the flooding, and they were all buried on site. It's like a 1,500 acre site, just north of Swannanoa. And because it was flooded, 2 barrels came up out of where they were buried by the EPA Superfund, where the impervious layer was put over top, and then earth put on top. Well, that was washed away. 2 drums came up. Now, they have been tested by EPA. They were both neutralized correctly. But there's still like 500 of these down below, and now they got to rethink this whole thing, because there was only anticipated them leaking into the groundwater, not being risen to the top, by gigantic floodwaters. It's just like, I can't remember which community there, that, caskets from the cemetery were all pushed out of the ground and floated down in the floods. But I know one thing, everybody down there They don't need, phase one is done. They don't need water. They don't need food. They don't need medicine. They're in phase two. Don't send any more food, water, medicine. They've got more than, there's no place to store it anymore. The Army is there. The National Guard is there. FEMA is there. I think there's like 700 federal employees from other agencies there, all over the whole area. Whether it's North Carolina or East Tennessee, Southwest Virginia. And, now I just got a post, from a friend today. The Army's there with the Chinook helicopters. They are loading up bales. I think they could get on 185 bales plus 50 bags of animal feed to get it up to, farm animals that are still trapped because the bridges are still out. And if you know anything about mountain topography, you only build roads along the rivers and creeks. And, most of them are still gone. Major highways are all open, except, of course, US 70, Interstate 40 between North Carolina and Tennessee. Because it was put along that river.
Well, here's a good little piece of good news. This is actually one of the articles that I wanted to get to. This, of course, is from the Associated Press as well, written by Gabriella Anguera, and I'm sure I'm butchering that name too. I tend to butcher a lot of them. Bakersville, North Carolina. This was posted today. No one wants to go through this level of destruction to be given this opportunity. But in the same way as was discussed from a policy standpoint about the rebuilding of Puerto Rico after its twin hurricanes, we have an opportunity to build, to borrow a phrase from President Biden, to build back better, or shall I say build back smarter following these twin hurricanes. Thus, this article from Bakersville, I think I said yes, Bakersville, North Carolina. The beginning of the story talks about how the residents there are still without electricity and that many of them are sharing, taking turns feeding off of various diesel generators. And then from about the midpoint of the story, now more help is arriving. Mr. Renfro, who is a gentleman who's referenced in the article, received a new power source this week, one that will be cleaner, quieter, and free to operate. Volunteers with the nonprofit Footprint Project and a local solar installation company delivered a solar generator with 6 245-watt solar panels, a 24-volt battery, and an AC power inverter. The panels now rest on a grassy hill outside the community building. Renfro hopes his community can draw some comfort and security, seeing and knowing that they have a little electricity. Footprint Project is scaling up its response to this disaster with sustainable, mobile infrastructure. It has deployed dozens of larger solar microgrids, solar generators, and machines that can pull water from the air to 33 sites so far, along with dozens of smaller portable batteries. With donations from solar equipment and installation companies, as well as equipment purchased through donated funds, the nonprofit is sourcing hundreds more small batteries and dozens of other larger systems, and even industrial-scale solar generators known as dragon wings. The buildings, the homes, the businesses, everything that was destroyed by these twin hurricanes has every right in the world to be rebuilt. But we do have an opportunity to build them smarter. We can put these homes on solar. There's a chance to build in the more remote mountainous areas. There's a chance to add solar and wind and get some of these homes off the grid and get them more independent. And actually, to some of these areas, provide not just more sustainable power, not just more power, period, but infinitely more reliable power and very local power. We can have these very large centralized coal-fired electricity plants, and the electricity can, be delivered over miles and miles and miles of line, nearly a third to 40% of it lost by the time it reaches its destination. Or you can have an entire roof full of solar panels and power yourself, and sometimes even beyond power yourself. I would never wish the destruction of buildings and homes and generations of memories that has been wiped out by these twin hurricanes. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. They've happened now. They are past. The destruction is what it is. We have the ability to be smarter about the way these neighborhoods and even some of these remote mountaintop farms are rebuilt. Humans are pretty effing smart when we want to be. We have an opportunity to rebuild these places back smarter, more able to withstand these types of storms, winds, floods, but also more sustainable as far as their own power, more reliable power. Just a little article of hope in what is a pretty serious time and a pretty depressing time for an entire region of the country. What else you got on your mind? I'm going to have to finish soon because my head is literally now throbbing off the top of my body.
I'm gonna let you go, Jeff, because I want the head they blow up. Okay.
It might. You might get to watch it. It'll make great TV.
I've been having a really bad COP gig here the last 3 days. I had to go to emergency care yesterday, get some drugs, but so I can empathize with your help, even though it's different than my health concerns. So let's just try and get healthy, and God bless everybody.
Thanks so much, mate. I appreciate you.
Good night.
Bye. I'm going to try to get to 8 o'clock because I'm just kind of OCD that way, that I like to get to the end on a half hour or a top of an hour. This is from the Associated Press as well. Can't forget, we've talked about Israel, the Middle East. We've talked about weather. Can't, of course, forget presidential campaign. It would be neglectful if we did. This article was posted today, again, by the Associated Press. It is written by, I tapped on something I shouldn't have, sorry. It is written by Stephen Groves, who's the author of this article. Headline: Trump tested the limits on using the military at home. If elected again, he plans to go further. Nope, I closed it with the wrong finger. Sorry. Again, this is Stephen Groves, Dateline, Washington. During his first term as president, Donald Trump tested the limits of how he could use the military to achieve policy goals. If given a second term, the Republican and his allies are preparing to go much further, reimagining the military as an all-powerful tool to deploy on U.S. soil. Remember, the Bill of Rights says that you don't have to house troops in their own home, the way the British used to make the American colonists house troops. The Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights mentions there's no quartering troops. He has pledged to recall thousands of American troops from overseas and station them at the U.S. border with Mexico. He has explored using troops for domestic policy priorities, such as deportations and confronting civil unrest. He has talked of weeding out military officers who are ideologically opposed to him. Well, that sounds awful like 1920s Italy and 1930s Germany. It actually sounds like modern Russia and Hungary. Not because I just happen to think so, but because that's what history tells us. Trump's vision amounts to a potentially dramatic shift in the role of the military. Oh, you think so? Goodness, Mr. Groves, that's obvious. Carrying grave implications for both countries' place in the world, and the restraints that have traditionally been placed on domestic use of the military. As Trump's campaign heads into the final stretch against Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris, he is promising forceful action against immigrants who do not have permanent legal status. Speaking in Colorado on Friday, the Republican described the city of Aurora as, quote, a war zone controlled by Venezuelan gangs, even though authorities say that was a single block of the Denver suburb and the area is safe again. In an interview that aired today on Trump's personal news channel, Fox News, Trump was asked about the potential of outside agitators disrupting Election Day, and then he pivoted to what he called the enemy from within. I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, Trump said. He added, we have some very bad people, we have some sick people, radical left lunatics. I'd love to know what those are. I'm sure he couldn't tell you. And I think they're the big, and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, the National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen. He didn't. Now, think about that sentence. I want to try this again. See if you can follow it, because it's gibberish. It's a word salad. I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics, and I think they're the big, and I think it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, the National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen. There's nothing small d democratic about this man, or what he and the billionaires who own him want to turn this country into. Many, 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 many hyperbolic things can be said during a campaign, especially the higher the office that we're talking about. It is hyperbole just comes with it. But the difference is, and we've said this on the program a million times now, I hate catchphrases. I hate, some of this stuff, because it just, the more you use it, it kind of almost makes you think that you can't form your own words. But some of them are really, really true. When they tell you who they are, listen. Elon Musk is now openly campaigning for Trump. He's echoing these anti-democratic thoughts and positions, and he thinks democracy is inconvenient. He would rather see totalitarianism in this country than he have to pay taxes. And yes, folks, yes, it's that simple. The Republicans, especially the Trump campaign, have been running around lying about the amount, the proliferation, the availability of aid into these red states following these twin hurricanes. But it's Mr. Musk who has started to charge people $400 for internet access. What? Kick them while they're down. Supposedly, the Biden administration is not helping these people, which is a lie. But we do know Musk is gouging, is price gouging. Something Vice President Harris has promised to stop if elected president. Folks, it is this simple. It is. It is this simple. Musk doesn't want to pay taxes. And he's willing to turn this country, the United States, the world's longest running democracy. He's willing to turn this country into Hungary, Russia, Mussolini's Italy, Hitler's Germany, Napoleon's France. He's willing to do that just because he doesn't want to pay taxes. And because he thinks you are financially responsible for his livelihood. Roads, let the peasants pay for it. Schools, they don't need schools. The dumber they are, the cheaper they are as labor. Kids working in factories, awesome. I don't have to pay them at all. This dystopian, fascist view, totalitarian view of what this country could turn into. Mr. Musk isn't alone. Jeffrey Gass, Mercers, Peter Thiel, Bezos, to an extent, Zuckerberg. A lot of people can't stand Bill Gates. I've never once heard him stump for fascism. He'd still like to be able to vote. So this is a real threat, folks. It truly, truly is. This is a real threat. These people want to not just change this nation, they want to end it and start something completely different. From the Associated Press 2 hours ago, headline: From the pulpit, Harris calls out Trump for hurricane misinformation as President Biden surveys Florida's damage. It's an article written by Josh Boak, Amir Mahadani, and Darlene Superville. And again, as always, if I butchered any of those names, my deep apologies to the authors and to anybody else who knows better about how those are supposed to be pronounced. I honestly don't know. I'll do the best I can. Greenville, North Carolina, Kamala Harris used an appearance Sunday before a largely black church audience in Battleground, North Carolina, to call out Donald Trump for spreading misinformation. How about outright effing lying about the government's hurricane response? President Joe Biden visited Florida for the second time this month to survey storm damage. Harris, the Democratic presidential nominee, did not speak Trump's name, but he is most prominent among those promoting false claims about the Biden administration's response to Hurricanes Milton and Helene. Florida was in the path of both storms, with Helene also hitting North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, while Milton headed for the open Atlantic. And I think it's still a formed storm. I don't think it's broken up, but I don't know that, to be perfectly honest. As soon as it leaves the states, it's like we don't pay attention to anything anymore. But I think it's still an actual storm. I don't believe that it's dissipated. I don't think so, but I could very well be wrong. I never heard that it was now, not a thing. Vice President spoke at the Koinonia Christian Center, and I may have said that wrong too, about the heroes all around who are helping residents without regard to political affiliation. Yet, quote, yet, church, there are some who are not acting in the spirit of community. And I am speaking of these who have been literally not telling the truth, lying about people who are working hard to help the folks in need, spreading disinformation when the truth and facts are required, Harris said. The problem with this, beyond the obvious, is it's making it harder then to get people life-saving information if they're led to believe they cannot trust. And that's the pain of it all, which is the idea that those who are in need have somehow been convinced that the forces are working against them in a way that they would not seek aid. Trump made a series of false claims after Helene. He lied through his effing teeth, let's just be blunt. Including saying that Washington was intentionally withholding aid from Republicans in need across the Southeast. Republican U.S. Senator Tom Tillis said that was an outright lie. Georgia Republican Governor Brian Kemp said that was a lie. Dozens of locally elected Republican officials throughout Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Tennessee said all of that was a lie. The federal government not only came in, but came in overwhelming force and supply. That they got everything they needed as quickly as they needed it, with the exception being what Randall had said. Many of the roads leading to these most mountaintop remote homes in the western parts of South Carolina, North Carolina, and what would have been the eastern part of Kentucky and Tennessee. Some of them are just exceptionally difficult to get to. Some still have dirt roads, and they washed away. Some of them were the last to get help because nobody could get there. They were using helicopters to get there. But dozens and dozens of Republican officials, even Ron DeSantis in Florida, had to admit the Biden administration has done everything and more. They have given him everything he has needed and more for both storms. And DeSantis, we all know who he is. Before Harris spoke in church, Biden was surveying hurricane damage on a helicopter flight between Tampa and St. Petersburg Beach on the Gulf Coast of Florida. From the air, he saw the torn up roof of Tropicana Field, home of the Tampa Bay Rays baseball team. On the ground, the president saw waterlogged household furnishings piled up outside flooded homes. Some houses had simply collapsed. The president said he was thankful that Hurricane Milton was not as bad as officials had anticipated, but that it still was a quote-unquote cataclysmic event for many people, including those who lost irreplaceable personal items. He also praised the first responders, some whom had come from Canada. So I have to wonder, I truly have to wonder, when you have, I've talked to you on this program before. I don't think I've actually talked about it too much in this cycle, but I have talked about it before. It's sometimes a candidate wants it just too damn much. And I'll tell you the truth, I've seen Democratic, big D Democratic candidates running for offices, from town councils to mayor to state reps. They just want it a little too damn bad. They don't just want to serve. And they don't just want to win said election. They just want it a little too bad. If Mr. Trump was so convinced that Project 2025 and his so-called wink, 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 policy positions for this country were so correct and that they were so much the right way to go in this country, he wouldn't have to lie to you every time you draw a breath. In every last way that Benjamin Netanyahu wants to stay out of prison and wants to keep the bribes flowing into his pocket, so does Trump. I happen to believe that the two primary reasons he is running for president again is to keep out of jail and to keep the money flowing in. He said last time he would make money being president. He sure did. And he wants to again. And what makes him dangerous is that now he knows how the office operates. He understands the levers of power better. Even somebody as thick and intellectually uncurious, I might have made a word, uncurious as he has figured out better, deeper, how to use the levers of power. He is dangerous. It's very, very simple. Too simple to simply dismiss some of these descriptions of Trump as hyperbole or panic or attention seeking or just political, they don't like him. Well, I don't. That's for sure. Although he and I happen to agree on tariffs. But if done the right way, if done in the vision under which Hamilton thought of them, Alexander. And again, Trump wouldn't know me if I tripped over him. He wouldn't know if he walked in this room. He wouldn't know me, and nor should he. To be honest, and to be fair. But I don't add my small voice to the chorus of voices warning you. Not just the people that I'm not just preaching to the choir, to the Donnas and Randalls of the world, but to any of the rest of you who have been kind enough, generous enough to listen to our program, to give us a chance, and who may not be convinced that the danger is that desperate. It is. I assure you, it is. Please, please, please. This man doesn't want to just change America. He wants to end America. He wants us to look something more like Hungary or Russia or 1920s Italy. And there's the old argument that as soon as you invoke the Nazis, you lose the argument. It is Trump who has talked about detention camps and work camps. And yes, he's used the term concentration camps. Not just for immigrants, but for political enemies, for Democrats. We have about 6 minutes left. I'm going to end at 8 o'clock because I have a powerful migraine, which is now beginning to make myself nauseous. I think I might have to run to the bathroom and throw up, which is about as blunt as you could possibly be on the radio. Hope you're not all taken aback by that, but it's just the truth. One of the beautiful, beautiful things about Hot 101 and GCPR is the flexibility of it. There's no there's no big paper contract and payment structure that means I have to be here right up until 8:59. I don't feel well. I can't get rid of this headache. It's getting worse, and I'm beginning to get nauseous from it. So I'm going to end up at 8 o'clock. I want to get to two things very quickly in our last few minutes. One, wherever you are in the United States or its territories, if you are eligible to vote in this election, I beg you to please do so. Please, please, please vote. Obviously, if you've listened to this program ever in its life, you know where I stand. I am a distant member of this family. I am a Democrat in every way, and I've been one since I was a child. When other kids didn't even know couldn't spell politics, I knew I was a Democrat. I knew I wanted to fight for those who can't. In the very Kennedy family tradition, I wanted to fight for those who could not fight for themselves, and make this a better country for everybody, a more equal and a more just country. I don't want anything for free. I don't want the government to hand me millions and millions of dollars so I can sit home and do nothing. But I do want the government to help make this society more fair so that I have every chance that rich people do. So please vote. Do not let people take their vote from you. Don't let them intimidate you into not voting. Don't let them try to convince you that your vote doesn't count. It's your vote. Please, please, please use it. Have a plan. If you want to vote by mail, get that ballot to a drop box. I would not trust the Postal Service even 3 weeks out. This week coming up might be your last week to use the Postal Service. After that, within the 2-week mark, I wouldn't anymore. I would find a drop box. If you plan to vote in person on Tuesday, November the 8th, or not the 8th, Jesus, the 5th. Good Lord. What is wrong with me? My goodness gracious. The 5th. What is wrong? God, that's nuts. How did I do that? Sorry, gang. Tuesday, November the 5th. It's always the first Tuesday after the first Monday. If you plan to vote in person, then please make sure that you have time away from work. If you're going to go to the polls before work or go after, if you are an older person who maybe needs a ride, see if you can arrange a ride. Work on that now. But vote. And I know this might sound a little antithetical to the program, but even if you don't agree with me on anything politically, but you've been kind enough to listen, I still want you to vote too. I don't think you should vote for Trump. I think it's a vote for the end of the country. But it's still your right to vote. And I think your right to vote and your right to be heard supersedes even who you might use that vote on. Second thing I want to get to, and I've deliberately kept it to the end of the program because it's something that I'm fundamentally uncomfortable with. And George, if you're there, I'd like you to help talk about it. George and I have set up a GoFundMe page. You can probably, if you're watching the video of the program, you can see the visible uncomfortableness on my face. The listeners and viewers in my audience are not wealthy people, generally speaking. There might be a few of you, but I think generally you're not wealthy. There's a lot of other things that you could use your money on. Prescriptions, doctor visits, gas for the car to get to work, clothing, food. I get all of that. But George and I have set up a GoFundMe. Hopefully George could maybe put the link in the chat somewhere or send it to me that I could put it in the chat or somewhere that you could find it. If you go to our home group Facebook page, that other side of information, you will see a post, which I actually should pin to the top of the page. It's a GoFundMe link. George and I are seeking funds for new computer equipment for the program. It's something that, to be honest with you, I'm a tad uncomfortable with because we're just blue-collar people just like you. You have expenses. You have daily expenses. You have bills. You have medicines to pay for, all of it. To ask you to help us seems unseemly to a point. But we don't have a choice. We have no other way to try to improve what's happening here. I will ask you to please go to the home group Facebook page for the program, and I'll ask George either after the program tonight, tomorrow, to repost the GoFundMe in the Facebook page. I'll try to pin it to the top to make it easy to find as well. Just check it out and see what you think. If you are able to give, great. If you can't, believe me, I understand. But we needed grammar to try to figure out a way to get some new computer equipment so I can fix the technical things that I can't do with this program, because this computer won't do things anymore because it's too old. So George convinced me finally to try this. It might work, it might not, but I'm asking you all to please check it out. It's GoFundMe, and I think you can probably, just search my name, George, or search the program's name? How would people, or you're going to put the link up again, I think, as well? It'll be in the Facebook.
I already put it in the Facebook chat. Yeah, it's just under Jeff Kennedy.
So if you go to GoFundMe.com, GoFundMe.com, I'm assuming there's a search bar somewhere toward the top of the page. Type my name in, and you'll find it. We are not asking you for new cars, or I'm not going to buy myself a new house. I'm not going to rent a studio space or buy a studio space. We're just asking for new computer equipment. That's it. Please check it out. If you can and want to give, then God bless you. Please do so. If you cannot, then God bless you. Please don't. If you want to give $25, $50, $100, or $10 or $5, then God bless you. If you can't do that because you can't afford it, then please don't. Please don't anybody give us anything they can't afford. This is not taking your Social Security check and going to Atlantic City or to Vegas. If you can't afford it, then don't. But if you can, please check it out. Please read it. See what you think. And if you are kind enough to help us, then please do so. But please make sure you can afford it. Don't short yourself something. It's like I said, it's not gambling. It's not, you don't take your Social Security check, go to Atlantic City. So it's GoFundMe.com/Jeff Kennedy. You'll probably find us. Or go to GoFundMe, go up in the search bar, type in my name. I think you should be able to type in the show name as well and probably find us. Read what we've written. Well, not really me. George wrote it all. Read what George has written. Read what we're trying to accomplish. If you believe in it and you want to be part of it, then we invite you to do so. If you can't afford it or you don't think it's worth donating to, then don't. That's okay. You just, this is America, at least for now. And hopefully it will be on November 6th. But my head is literally splitting open. So I'm going to say good night for now. Here's the plan. Here's the broadcast schedule. Here's everything going forward. Thomas, the villain, you got about an hour, a little less than an hour. Actually, the pre-show for the Villains View starts probably in about a half hour. And then the official kickoff of the program is 9 p.m. That is live on Ghost Claw Entertainment on Facebook. I think it's on Ghost Claw Productions. I will put it at that other side of information. And it is live on gcpr.live from 9 p.m. Eastern Time, less than an hour from now. In the pre-show probably starts around 8:35, 8:40, and then the live actual put the car in gear, off to the races show begins from 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow morning, Thomas returns with the Sound of Coffee. A brand new broadcast week begins on GCPR starting tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., Sound of Coffee, 8 a.m. Eastern, GCPR Live. We return to you 8 p.m. tomorrow evening, Cold Dead Hands from 9, T. Nathan from 11. Following us on hot101.net, the music returns. Been a lot of heavy topics in this show. Relax, listen to some music before Thomas starts at 9. George and I will be with you again tomorrow evening. And barring anything unforeseen, we will be with you for the week. We are expecting a couple of guests this week, a couple of state representative candidates from very different areas, actually, in Pennsylvania. A reminder to all of you watching and listening, if you are running for state or federal office anywhere in the United States or its territories, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, Guam, et cetera, and you want to come on this program and talk to us from either party, you are welcome here. We look forward to those conversations. A little disconcerting that we've had such a dearth of candidates. I know it was maybe 2 years ago. I felt like we had a candidate every week. Then again, we were only doing the Sunday program 2 years ago. We weren't doing a weeknight program, but we were. God, I hate to sign off. There's like a lot of people watching right now. I hate to sign off. My head is going to explode. But if you're a candidate running for state house, state senate, what we generally refer to as a state row office, like treasurer, attorney general. If you're running for governor, you're running for the United States House of Representatives. You're running for state or local office anywhere in the United States and its territories. You are welcome to come here, Republican or Democratic. Come here. Let's talk issues. Let's talk policy. Let's talk to each other. Let's talk with each other and not just at each other. You are welcome here. If you don't want to do a big long Sunday one, you don't have to. You want to come in for 10, 15 minutes, half an hour, you're welcome. Want to come in during the week because Sunday doesn't work? No problem. You know where to find us. It's not hard. And if you're not the actual candidate and you're listening to us because you work on a campaign for one of these folks, you think they might benefit by coming on, please invite them. Get a hold of me. Hit me on Messenger. Facebook Messenger is always a good place. Or hit the Facebook group, put a post in there, something, just let us know. We'd like to hear from you. Let's bring back the idea of candidates actually talking to the people that they want to represent. I think that about does it. I know I ran over it a little bit, or at least what I was planning. I think that about does it, because my head literally is going to burst open. In fact, poor George. George and I usually sit and chat for sometimes half an hour or more after the show's over. Not tonight. I'm gonna run and get a lot of water and get something else into this brain. That said, for everyone at hot101.net, that's DJ Lex, DJ Earl, Waterboy, everybody, just everybody at the hot101.net family who has been so, you're smiling, I see it, that has been so patient, and I mean that. I'm not just throwing flowers out there. That has been so patient with us the last 3 weeks and just wishing me and everybody around the program nothing but the best in health and recovery and so on. You've been very, very kind, beyond kind. And we continue to be part of hot101.net because they're the first radio station that gave us a chance. So we'll stay here as long as we are capable of being here and as long as they're willing to have us. So for everybody at hot101.net, I want to say thank you so much for being supportive and just being a family and just being kind to us here on our program. For everybody at GCPR, that's Thomas and Gilbert and Gambit and Gretchen and Bob Kosh and Pastor Best and Brett and Ben and Chuck and Simon and I think I got
and Sheila Chappelle.
And Sheila. I think, okay, thank you. That's why you're
And then Solid Blue Sister.
Right. Okay. So in other words, I suck and I forgot two people. So to everybody at GCPR Live and to everybody that surrounds this program, Lynn and George, Kristen, Daisy the dog, April Riddick, I'm Jeff Kennedy. We've done about all the damage we can do for one night. I'm going to try and go kill this headache, and we will see you tomorrow from 8 p.m. One last time. Villain's View from 9, Thomas in the Morning from 8. We'll be back here tomorrow night from 8 p.m. on GCPR Live. Everyone who's been a part of the program this evening, whether you agree or not agree, comments, phone calls, you name it, thank you, thank you, thank you. We couldn't do it without you. So please go to the Facebook page, check out the GoFundMe. If you want to be a part, awesome. If you can't, believe me, I understand. We make these decisions in this household every single day. What can we afford? What can we not afford? We do it every damn day. So I'm asking you to do the same thing. If you want to contribute, please feel free to do so. If you can't, I totally understand. Is there a time limit on that, George, where it times out and that's the end of it? Or do we just leave it open?
For the GoFundMe?
Yeah. And I'm asking because I honestly don't know the answer. Is there some kind of limit? Like if you're going to donate, you better do it before this day, or
usually like.
I thought it was 30 days.
Yeah, 30 days, I think.
All right, so
I thought it was.
We'll check it out. If you can't donate today, maybe you can a couple days from now. Maybe you can a week from now. And if you want to, donate. If you can't, again, we get it. But all we're trying to do, new equipment for the program. I'm not buying a new house. I'm not buying a new car. I'm not buying a whole new wardrobe. I'm not putting it toward the wedding or any of that stuff. Just equipment for the show. Period. End of story. That's it. Nobody's asking so that we can live a higher lifestyle. Just better functioning equipment. Not even just better functioning. I mean, like better equipment and actual functioning equipment for the program. That's all we can do. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night. If the weather's as good where you are as it is here, go outside, get a couple nice breaths of fresh air before coming back in and checking out the Villain's View. We will see you tomorrow night. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other and work on that plan to vote. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so very much. We'll see you then.